Hi, welcome back to another YouTube video. I'm having to record my videos slightly differently than usual, and that's the reason for that is I'm having to use my laptop rather than desktop computer, because today I'm going to be showing some of the Xbox One accessibility settings. So I'm streaming the Xbox through to my laptop because the processor on it's slightly better than my desktop computer. It seems to work a little bit better. Hopefully I won't have any technical difficulties today, but yeah, so Xbox One obviously is a very popular console at the moment. Excuse me a second. There's a lot of people that have them, and it's got some really good accessibility settings in there. Microsoft seem to be quite good at adding accessibility to their products. One of the things that excuse me, one of the things that's worth looking at initially is if you have either an Echo device or Google Companion or Cortana enabled, you can use any of those things and enable the Xbox One skill, so you can actually control some things on the Xbox just with your voice. So for example, if I say Alexa, tell Xbox to open settings.
Understood.
Didn't quite work as it should have done. It's not actually showing my settings. Let me just try that again. Alexa, tell Xbox to launch settings. There we go, that's better. Right, yeah, so you can do a few different things with your voice. I don't know all the voice commands off the top of my head, but you can do things like turning volume up and down. If you're watching videos and things on the Xbox, you can play and pause with your voice, things like that. Excuse me, and you can even start the Xbox with your voice and turn it off as well. So yeah, so really useful if you have one of those devices, or even if you're just using Google on your phone or something like that, you can do those as well, or download the Alexa app. So yeah, excuse me. So in the settings, excuse me. So in the settings, if you scroll down to the bottom here, you've got ease of access, and it's called ease of access on a Windows PC as well. And you've got a few different options in there. You might recognise some of these if you've seen some of these on the PC before. So you've got narrator. Let me just quickly switch that on and show you what that does. It gives you controller and keyboard shortcuts as well. So if you do have keyboard plugged in, you can use keyboard shortcuts to launch these things and do stuff, or you can use your Xbox controller like I'm using at the moment. So it gives you some idea of what does what in there and how to quickly turn it on as well. So if I hold down my Xbox, excuse me, if I hold down my Xbox button and then press that button there,
dialog.
So do I want to turn on the narrator, and I say
settings
yes.
window, ease of access,
and there we
6
go.
of 6, selected.
A narrator will speak things. I'm just turning the volume up a little bit. And the narrator will speak things that are on my Xbox menu
Narrator,
screens.
1 of 6, high contrast, controller, magnifier, ease of access, preferences, devices and preference, ease of access, 6 of 6, selected.
So that's
narrator.
pretty cool.
Narrator on checkbox checked. Narrator is a screen reader that reads text. Exiting narrator.
Now, the only problem with some of these accessibility settings is they would not necessarily transferable across some of the games, apps and things that you might have on the Xbox. Unfortunately, some of those are a little bit out of Microsoft's control, so some things will read out still, some things might not. That's the same with any other device as well, really. So yeah, so that's narrator, and you can have a warning to show when narrator's being turned on if you want to. Next one is high contrast. So if I click on here, and you've got a couple of different settings on here. There's not many, but there's a couple of options. So if we click on dark theme, for example, you'll see everything's gone black and white with quite a nice bright blue highlight on all the options. I quite like that one actually. And there's a light theme as well, which is personally speaking, it's not great in my eyes, but yeah, that might be useful for certain people. I'll have to put it back to. In fact, I might. Yeah, no, I'll put it back to normal for now. Magnifier. Now it doesn't magnify that much, and again you can put this on with a shortcut if you want to. So if I hold down my Xbox button and press this button here, that one turns magnifier on. So there we go. So all I'm doing is scrolling around on the screen to have a look, see what I'm magnifying into. If I press the RB button, it zooms in quite a lot. If I press the LB button, it zooms out quite a bit as well, so back to normal size screen. You can have it follow the controller focus if you want to, which means that if I start, let me zoom in a bit, If I now press left or right now, it's following where my controller is, which I think is quite a useful feature to have. There's also a large on-screen keyboard option as well, so if I just find something that uses the on-screen keyboard, if I go to my search option here, for example, it doesn't really look any larger than normal, the on-screen keyboard to me, but I'll have to have another look at that one later on. But yeah, so there's a few different options in there anyway. Let me turn that off for now. Okay, controller, the actual controller itself. Now, Microsoft do a controller for disabilities, which is quite a nice one. I'll perhaps put a link to that in the description. For somebody who's perhaps got physical disabilities and can't manage that kind of an interface. And also there are some different alternative types of controllers you can get as well for Xbox anyway. But the nice thing about this is you can remap all the buttons. So if you're struggling with one side of the controller or certain buttons on the controller, or sometimes you can get controllers that have got extra buttons on the back of them which are programmable, so you can actually set things to that as well. So you can change any of these buttons or joysticks to anywhere else. So I'm just really quickly look in there a moment. A little bit slow. So yeah, so you can change all your buttons. You can swap your joysticks around if you want to. So if you want, most games you use the left joystick to move around and the right one to move your camera around, but you can swap those around completely if you wanted to. All sorts of stuff you can do in there, so well worth a look at if you need that. Another interesting one in here, well, you can change vibration settings as well, so turn controller vibration on and off. And this one's an interesting one. There's something called Copilot in here. So basically it means if you have two controllers, you can set them both up so that they will both act as one controller, if that makes sense. So that could be really useful. For example, if somebody I used to work with a long time ago, he had an Xbox One and he was pretty much only had use of one hand, the other hand was very limited. He did actually do really well considering he only had the use of one hand. But some games, I'd imagine, if you use the Copilot options, and if you're struggling with, say, the fire button on a game or something like that, somebody else could have another controller and do that for him while he's perhaps while he's doing the joystick and moving around and stuff like that. So, excuse me, really useful feature. I'm not going to demonstrate that at the moment, but it's good to know that one's in there anyway. And then we've got a couple of other options in here. Closed captioning. You can turn that on and off, and that's if you've got things like videos and things on your Xbox. I haven't actually got anything on here to demonstrate that at the moment, but you get the idea. Just add subtitles to certain things on the Xbox. And then you've got a couple of audio options. So you've got turning on mono output, combine your channels. I don't really know when you'd use that really, but possibly that's something that's useful for certain people. So yes, that's pretty much it really. Just a really quick overview. Now obviously some games do have their own accessibility options in them as well. Sometimes a little bit limited in terms of what there is, but there's a few bits and pieces. I'll just quickly show you a couple of those. I'm going to skip ahead slightly in the video so that you don't have to wait for me to load things. Okay, so I've just launched Minecraft. Obviously a really popular game. It's been around for quite a long time now and still going strong. So there are a couple of settings already in Minecraft, and some of the settings on the Xbox will already work with this. So I've just turned the Magnifier back on, so again with that shortcut, the Xbox button and the little button with the little squares on it there. So if I press RB now, it will zoom in on this actual game, and that's true of the majority of games as well. So, so that's quite nice that works. Narrator doesn't work. Oh, can't zoom back out now. Right, I'm just going to turn that off for a minute. Narrator works mainly on the menu screen, but this has its own sort of narrator kind of thing in the game. So if I click on settings on here, right at the top of settings when it comes up is accessibility. So I can actually enable the screen reader in here. Hopefully you can hear that okay.
On.
So that will read out
Enable text to speech for chat.
It does speak
Toggle
to different things in the
off.
game as well. So for example, if someone else joins your game, it will say such a body is logged on or whatever it says on there. So And you can have text-to-speech for chat as well if you want to. So if you're having like online chats and things with your friends, you can have that. So a couple of options in there, not many, but there's a few.
Off. Enable you.
And there's a few options for other bits and pieces in there, which might, you know, potentially help someone who's playing it in terms of like camera perspective and screen animations and things like that. So so there's a few things you can tweak around there with display settings and that sort of thing. Okay, so I've just skipped ahead to another very popular game. This is Fortnite, which again is extremely popular at the moment, as are many other games. And there are some settings in Fortnite as well, which help a little bit with accessibility. So if I press my menu button, which is one with 3 little lines on it, I can then go to settings at the top of the screen here. Now there's a few different things on here for people who are colourblind, and you can change the contrast on the user interface as well. So that's quite nice, and brightness and things like that. So really useful. You can do things like motion blur, people are sensitive to motion blur, so they have really thought about it quite a lot as well. That shows how many frames per second there are on the video. I don't know how useful that is, but yeah, and you can set a few different things in there. Another really nice feature in here, if I can remember where it is where you can change sensitivity and things like that. There's also, if I can find it, oh, it's in the volume section. You can have, so there's quite nice headphone settings. If you've got 3D headphone sound on and you've got a pair of headphones, you can tell where the sound's coming from a little bit more. And you can also have this thing called visualize sound effects, which is really good. And what that basically does is it puts like a little ring around your character in the game, and it sort of visually shows you sound effects of where people are in terms of like little footprints and things on the screen. So if you've got a hearing impairment, you can actually have a visual display on the screen as well. So I'm going to cut ahead in the video a little bit just to quickly check that. It's quite nice. Okay, so hopefully in a moment when I land, if people start shooting, you'll be able to see the visual effect that I was talking about on the screen. So let me go down here where I know there's a few sort of in-game henchman type bot characters. Let me just go over here and bob in here a second. So you can see there's a slight ring around my character then, so that indicates where different things are, different sounds are in the game. We've also recently updated the game as well, so the little menu right at the top where it shows the compass directions, if people start firing, there's little red marks on there to show what direction of those as well, so really quite nice. So if I start hitting this guy with a pickaxe and then run away, you can see the footsteps on the screen of where people are as well. So I was able to get myself killed doing things like that, but just to quickly demonstrate in the game. So yes, that's really nice. I'm not going to show every single game on here in different accessibility settings, but just to show that, you know, there are quite a few different options in the game, in lots of different games for accessibility settings, and I think people are more aware of accessibility in gaming generally these days. Microsoft do a very good job. I'm going to have a look at Nintendo Switch later on and see how well they do as well. In terms of accessibility, I know when it first came out there wasn't really many options, but I believe they've added quite a few different things like zoom and things in there now. So we'll have a look at that on another video, and hopefully that will have a few options as well. So I just need to have a look at it myself first and see what the options are. So somebody's running away from me on the on the game at the moment. I'm not going to keep chasing them. I'm going to quit out for now. But thanks for watching. Hopefully this has been useful and given you a bit of an idea of what options are actually available in game. So yeah, so this is Xbox One accessibility, and I'm just going to shoot this person if I can. There we go. Yeah, so thanks very much for watching, and see you soon for Nintendo Switch accessibility options. Okay, thanks, bye.